Good Saturday afternoon, everyone. I decided to come on and do a couple of unboxings, a little bit of show and tell. And before you come in the chat, please hit the thumbs up, share this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. So it's been a beautiful day here in Henryville, and got a little bit of things done and still got more to go, but hey, it's all a work in progress. So, as you guys do know, I'm a buyer as well as a seller, and I've purchased many great things from a lot of different people, and I wanted to come on and show you. I've got one from Raven's Chest Doug and one from Nana Tink. And recently I had a request for a beanie. So, hey, Laura. So I've got that done. The first one, I didn't like the way it looked, so I immediately started another one, but it is done. So that was a request for one of the beanies that I make, and I am working on something currently, and I'll show that to you. I'm a big fan of Pinterest. So I've been working, this is the next project, that right there. I think I made a couple of them a couple years ago, and I did order some orange thread as well. Thank you, because I'm going to make some, there's a pumpkin pattern that I'm interested in that are doilies. More than likely I will make a pair and I will show it to you. The difficulty on the one I just showed you, it's intermediate. That means you better know what you're doing kind of pattern. So since we are in the month of October, I decided to go ahead and make some things, and who knows, I might sell some things. This is the other pattern I will be working as well, is this right here. And these are doilies, and welcome in, Ginger. I did order some orange thread from Amazon, and I got it at a great price. It was like $3 and some odd cents, so I got two of them. So I will be crocheting some things. And would you, Ginger? Which one do you like? Hey, Clint, it's been a while. Where you been? Been thinking about you. And this is a Victorian slip locket that I purchased from Raven's Chest. Doug almost said Raven Crest. And it is a slip locket. I absolutely love it. It is Victorian. It seems like I am drawn to these pieces, and this is a locket. So, but anyway, I will be crocheting some. Is it, you like the pumpkins, Ginger? Well, I think I can work that out. The one that am working on currently, which I have right up to where the eye is on the, hey, Beth, welcome in, on the skull. And I'll probably, I'm notorious for making two of everything. So I decided to crochet these things because I do have the ability to do it. And why not? I also am going to be working on this cute little Santa hat. Let me go back. And this is done with yarn. Now, when I switch from yarn to thread, it's a whole different world. And it really is, but I enjoy it. And where's it at? What is it talking about here? My mind just went totally blank, guys. I had a blonde moment. Hang on just a second. But I did complete Mama Chola's beanie. Like I said, I wasn't happy with the first one. And when I'm not happy, I just start all over again. But hey, Lenore, welcome in. I was going to show you something, and I swear it flew right out of my mind. But I do enjoy Pinterest. They do offer a wide variety of patterns. And why did my mind go blank? Probably because I was thinking about too many things at one time. But, there are easy patterns, medium, and intermediate. So I'm the kind that likes the challenge. So, and if I don't get it right, if that row, here it is. If that row does not turn out correctly, I go back and redo it until I get it right. And I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to also be doing some of these as well. That's why I ordered my green thread from Amazon, not the thread, the yarn. I will be making these. So, like I said, I'm a big Pinterest fan. But 'tis the season and Halloween's just right around the corner, so why not? Like I said, if it's not perfect, if something's wrong and I see it, the whole thing comes out to that point, and then I rework it because I never get frustrated. I work it until I get it, and that's just the way I am. But anywho, welcome in, you guys. Let me show you this hat that I had a request. They wanted this hat. Let me see if Debbie's handy. I've got so much stuff in here. Where's Debbie? Debbie! But anyway, this is what I crocheted for Mama Chola. She requested it. So naturally, I complied, and she wants to buy it. And this is her beret, and she wanted, hey, Tracy, welcome in. And she wanted, this is like a muted brown. She wanted brown. So it took me a couple hours, and boom, it was done. When I get to crocheting, that's just how it is. But it should fit perfectly. It's made really heavy. I decided to go with this on the outside, the crown part of it, so that it would be a little different. And there it is. It's done. There's some patterns that you work and they just stay with you. And thank you. And, like on a row, if you get the row down, then you can continue on without looking at the pattern. And then what is so odd is do a crochet tutorial. If I could figure out how to get this camera set up one day, I sure will, because, hey, Simone, welcome in, because, I have the ability to make these things. And I would really love to show you guys. Crocheting is especially fun in the wintertime when you may not be as busy, and there is a sense of accomplishment with that. The only thing that I haven't made is an Afghan. So you never know. I mean, an Afghan does take a lot of work, and you never know. That could be in the thing, because I do love to make different things. I have sold things, and welcome in, Leslie. What do you think of this hat, Leslie, that I made for Mama Chola? It's a beret. So that is hers, and it's in the desert. It's so weird that she said brown, because I had just bought this it's Karen cakes, and I had just, now if I wanted to, I could do crochet up a little bitty thing to go through there and attach. So I kind of leave that open. I may ask her if she wants that put on there. It's up to her. Thank you, Leslie. When I get started, I sit for hours, guys. I'm so guilty of that. Because when you crochet, it's interesting to see the outcome of the next row, so on and so forth. But anywho, I got to show you this first. This fantastic thing here. There's a pair of scissors in there. thought I brought this is a purse, and we do have a few missing stones, but I'm sure I could take care of that. Let me find my. Probably got a better chance of being struck by lightning on this desk. Let me find it. Where's that remote? Good Lord. Here, silly, you got something right in front of you. Use it. You want to talk about spectacular? It's like a disco ball, isn't it? Isn't that neat? But this is a purse. I'm going to open it. Perfect New Year's Eve purse. Right, it does have a little bit of something where someone had an ink pen in the purse. Now, who would put a pen in a purse? But I thought it was spectacular. It goes on your wrist, and it is something else. Love, love, love. Even there's rhinestones even right there. And it's just fantastic. Kind of reminds me of an 80s purse, but as you can see, it does have the bling factor. It's moonified. Yes, it is. I just thought it was really neat. You could hang that from something and just watch it spin. It's like an orb with sparkles on it. Isn't it neat? I do have a light right there. I just thought that was too much. Not too much for me, but too much in the form that it's good. You know, when people say, oh, that's bad, and they don't really mean bad, definitely disco ball. Okay, this one is from Nanotink, and I know exactly what's in it. These are Christmas die cuts, which if you look online, you will see how expensive these things are. And I got a whole bunch of them. You know, if you go online, you're going to see exactly what these sell for per piece. And they were in such great shape, and I was in a bidding war, and I come out on top, so, which is a good thing. You know, these are something that were prevalent back in the 70s. Thank you, Lenore, for doing that. You may have to wrap that really well and put it in between something to keep it from getting bent. So, you know, guys, I was watching something last night, and it was merely by accident. It merely just popped up. And this person was doing an unboxing. Well, the thing of it is, you know, if somebody, I mean, I think she knew it was, you know, if someone has Penelope, if someone has a problem, if they should never, you know, if someone has a problem with somebody's whatever, for God's sake, don't go online and be complimentary 1 minute and bash them the next. And I watched that and I hit a thumbs down because it was ridiculous. If a person's life is that empty to where they want to feel important or noticed, she could have emailed that person. There was no use in that. And I think someone told her. And I gave it a thumbs down because I really didn't appreciate it. Because you know why? The same person critiqued me and then proceeded to lie. And she got real lucky, really lucky. You know, if you can't be positive, and if you're just doing an unboxing to critique people and hoping there's a mistake, yeah, Laura, it was her. You might want to check that out. It was sickening. And, you know, if you can't be uplifting and there are some people, their self-esteem is so low that they feel like getting on an online platform and making, being nice 1 minute, but the undertone is, hey, Sharon, welcome in. It's something else, then they got a problem. If you open a box, I know resellers are good about this, contact them and do it in an email, not online. Don't humiliate people. And that, see, this person was nice 1 minute and very negative the next. And she thought people were not smart enough to see through her bull. Now, if you don't, remember the golden rule: if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it. If something's wrong, go to that person's email. Don't come on an online platform and talk about people because it's not cool. I mean, it really, I know how this person felt because she did the same thing to me. She got lucky, I'm telling you. Welcome in, Perla. Good to see you. I mean, it's uncalled for. If you can't, if you want to communicate with somebody, go to their email. I mean, come on, we're all adults. And I think we should really act like an adult. You know, one of these days she's going to come across the wrong person and they're going to light her up. And I hope they do. I really do. Because that's all she does. I think Josie said it perfectly when she said, when you are perfect, you may judge me. Right. She wasn't. She lies. One thing about a liar, the truth does come to light. And I didn't say anything about it, but she lied on me too. And how dare her? Welcome in, Gigi. It's uncalled for. Get a life and email somebody. Don't humiliate somebody on an online platform. Really? If you want attention, go look in the mirror and then you can look at yourself. It's a safe way. But anywho, back on what I was doing. These are die cuts, and they're from the 70s, and some of them do have some condition issues, but you can tell that these are from the 70s. And here's Jolly O Saint Nick. And I guess people think it makes them look so intelligent when they do something like that. It makes them look like a fool. I'm here to tell you. And so here's another one. These are really neat because they are printed on both sides, and we're missing part of the candy cane. So I'll nip that and turn it into one without a crook on it. But these are from the 70s. And I just thought they were neat. And for to be in the 70s, they're in great shape. And here's a Merry Christmas. And back in the day, when you put those on a window, not only could you see them from the outside, you could see them on the inside as well. And I just thought, for the age, being from the 70s, they got that 70s smell to them. And that you can tell they've been stored. So there's that. And here is another one. So you could put Merry Christmas on either side of something, but they are double-sided, which you don't see today. Then all these are cute, and there's two of them. And the Santa has like a velvet type suit on, and he as well is double-sided, so we know that's definitely from the 70s. And I have two of them identical right there, and this does have texture to it. It's like a velvety like texture, and they're just really neat. And these are things that probably got thrown away and were used a lot and they're wore out. And here is a raccoon here. And his little suit has the same kind of feel to it. It's kind of velvety. And he too has double side. Hey, Dana, welcome in, sweetie. Good to see you. Oh, I thought these were so cute. And here we have a putty tat. And this is up here is textured and stuff like that with a snowman. And he is double-sided, something you don't see every day. I thought it was really cute. Hey, Nana, welcome in. Then we have, this is one-sided. This is Jolly O Saint Nick with a puppy and a bird, and he's getting all his letters out of the mailbox from Santa. S. Claus. Columbus Day. Okay, Monday. All right. Man, I tell you, time has flown. I'm telling you. Here we have the little puppy dog, and it is double-sided with the deer. Isn't that cute? These things go high dollar on, if you look on online platforms, because you can't find them anymore. Like I said, they were either, worn out or lost in the shop. This one's adorable. Look, an angel with a halo on its ear, and this there again is textured as well. And thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Then we have, is that a polar bear? I don't know, but it's awfully cute. Same texturing right there. And the North Pole and game thing popped up. And these are just things I've had. Hey, Gina, I've had a person to tell me not to watch someone else's videos. Like who? See, that's what I'm talking about. Why can't people just mind their business and stop being petty and act like an adult for once? If you're 50, 60 and beyond, you're past maturity, and it's just crazy and it's wrong. And I don't like things like that. The thing of it is, if you're going to tell someone not to watch someone else's videos, then they ought to come right to that person they're talking about and hash it out with them instead of spreading their nonsense to other people. See, that's what's wrong with things today. It's just crazy. That's terrible, Sharon. And there again, we have the right up here. It's kind of a felt, the same material. And it's a little kitty. Yeah, Diane Keaton did pass away. I forget what she played in, and were double-sided. Did she play in some of the Batman movies? Isn't that cute? Oh, and look at this, guys. You have a putty cat and something else, and the bear. Isn't that adorable? Singing carols, and look at the little girl. How cute is that? Because she got mad with a certain person. He's a good friend of mine. I watch his videos anyway. Good, Sharon. Because when you do that, you refuse to drop to her level. You're a person. You have, if you want to watch a video, then watch it. If she's got such a problem, why don't she go right to the person and leave other people out of it? And I'm telling you, when people, I haven't been done that way, but if I was ever done that way, I would cut them off totally. I wouldn't even think anything about it and just cut them off, because obviously they want attention. Like I said, if they want attention, go in the bathroom and look at the mirror, and there will be someone looking back at them. Just saying. Sorry about that. I get fired up because it's crazy. So isn't that adorable? And it is double sided. Well, good for you, Sharon. Don't let nobody slow your roll. That's good. Okay, she was in different movies. I like her in comedies. I know I'd heard the name and I thought she may have been. Oh my God, this is so adorable. Here we have, whoops, hang on, let me untangle it. This was an extra, this was a kind of like a mobile type thing. That's why I love to be in chats where there's positivity, people respect one another, there's no backbiting or nothing like that. People come to an auction to get away from normal life that might be trouble, and they come in there and someone's running their mouth. It's not cool. Just saying. If they got a problem with somebody, just take it right to them and leave other people out of it. Well, this thing is tangled big time. I have to work a puzzle here. Same fun chat, piano purses, corn and jewelry, and glass, and little mobiles that are tangled. I ignored her, and when I ignored her, she started cussing me out, but I deleted her from my YouTube channel, and so there you go. There's your answer. Cut them off. They're not worth it. If they're upset, let them go to the persons. Don't go behind people's back talking about them. Say it to their face. You got a problem with somebody, say it to their face. I've always been like that. I never had anybody speak for me because as you can see, as big as my mouth is, I don't have a problem with speaking for myself. Marathon movies, yeah. It's just, I guess as long as we're on earth with people, it's going to be like that. They're very good people. There are some people that makes you want to pull your hair out. And when that happens, you just separate yourself from the situation, move on, learn from it, and just let it be. That song by the Beatles, Let It Be. I got to attach this when it came off, but it is a mobile, but she put it in there. I don't think it was ever put on there. But it is a mobile with this here. It is double sided. Thank goodness they showed you who they are, Sharon, so you can move on and spend time with. Yes, right, Nana. Ain't nobody deserves to be talked to like they're nothing. Yeah. We love you here, Sharon. And we're true, and we don't have two faces. What you see is what you get. And I don't have any problems with anyone. Myself, Gina, recently made 333 pairs of earrings. I sold 4 pairs of earrings. Good, Sharon. Keep that momentum up. But that is a little mobile, and it is double-sided. And I need to put this little elf back on, which will not be hard. But this is an older one, and these are from the probably 70s or the 80s, and I thought they were adorable. We all have a little kid in us, right? Some people ain't got no couth, a quote from a fave movie, Born Yesterday. And that is so true, Penelope. They really don't. You know, some people wouldn't be happy if you give them a new rope to hang themselves with. But look at this. Isn't that neat? It is not double-sided, but how cute is that? Kind of takes you back to when you were a kid, and there's Santa with Rudolph and an elf. It is not double-sided. And there's a big one here, and I hope it ain't messed up. Then we have, do you recall the most famous reindeer of all? And this has a really velvety like texture, and it's Rudolph. Well, maybe it's one of the other ones. His nose isn't red. Oh, but I thought he was so adorable. And thank you guys for being here. But I just felt like, people that bash other people and come on an online platform and act up, or that's not cool at all. So this is a set, guys. Let me show you the or a trio. This is old, guys. Here is Santa, and there are a few condition issues. But hey, Face the Ace, welcome in. And you have this that goes with it. I'm sorry, guys. I know I get fired up, but after a while, you get tired of the crap. And then you have the reindeer that go right along with Santa with the elves. You can tell these are old, and that has the same. Y'all probably saying, I usually just let her get it out of her system, and she moves on. And there's a Santa Claus. Yes, Penelope, and for their age, they're in pretty good shape. Okay. Hey, Roberta, sweetheart, welcome in. Hey, Deborah, what do you call a cat walking on the beach at Christmas? Can you guys guess what that is? Lord, and here's more deer, so I bet that goes together. And these deer are double-sided, so imagine they go along. Isn't that cute? There's that. Then we have yet another deer. And another deer. So evidently it goes with Santa. And we have all the deer that go with it. How cute is that? Then we have Christmas bells. Ring, ring. The way time is flying, guys. We're going to look up and we'll be ringing Christmas bells. And this is the most, if I can get it straight, it's the entire set of Santa and his 8. Let me see if Rudolph's in the front. And it's all of his reindeer like that. And they're all there. Let's count them. Let's see. Okay, what a cat is called walking on the beach at Christmas is Sandy Claus. Get it? Sandy Claus. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, they're all there. And they are cute as a button. And I guess he would go on a very large, and look at the deer, aren't they sweet? And these are what you call die cuts, things that you were probably familiar with if you were living in that time frame. That's quite a few die cuts, and I know what these sell for online, and because of a lot of them have been torn up and used and wore out and tossed in the garbage, but these are in really good shape. So moving on. I pretty much know what's in this box, and man, is it going to be exciting, because I think I remember a big old Larimar ring in here. And it was said that the discoverer of Larimar named Larimar after his two loves, his daughter and the sea, is what the thing was. So this is from Raven's Chest, Doug. And I think I know what's in here. He kills me about every week. But yeah, I'm going to be busy crocheting some things for Halloween. And Ginger, I will, if that's what you want, I will contact you because I won't get my orange thread until Thursday because it comes from a company. Now, if it was directly in Amazon's fulfillment, then I would have got it like boom. The Amazon fulfillment center is like I would say 30 miles from our house. So, and I have Amazon Prime, and I usually get things pretty fast, if I do say so myself. And it's really worth it if, especially if my husband ordered a motor for our pellet stove, and it had some weight to it, and we didn't have to pay the shipping. Penelope, sorry. I should just give Doug my checkbook. I know what you mean. So we're going to open this. And if someone would drop Doug's, of course, I know a lot of you already subscribed, but he goes out, and I don't see, hey, Bruce, welcome in. I don't see how he rides. Now, I'll tell you something. When I was from about the age of 17 on up into my 30s, I could ride a skateboard, and I'm not kidding you. And I remember going up to the school, and there was this down, and I would turn sideways, believe it or not, and go right down that hill. If I got on, and it wasn't the big ones, it was the little ones. I could not, even when I was good at riding a regular skateboard, I could not ride one of those. Tell you what, if you're going along and you hit a rock, you end up skint up, just saying. Very first thing on the table. Bruce said when she smiles, she's thinking of something evil. This is Larimar, guys. Look at that Larimar. Is that not fantastic? Let me move it in. And of course, Larimar is mined in the Dominican Republic. I may have to, let me see if it'll fit this other finger. I may have to put a ring snuggie on it, but it was too good to pass up. Look at that Larimar. Goodness gracious. And I would say this is older. Mark 925 right in the middle. You can tell, look at the little hearts on the side of that. Isn't that neat? Good to see you guys. And if I didn't see, I get to talking and I forget who, and welcome in Miss Roberta if I missed you. Look at that. I knew this was in the mix. Laura, are you sick today, hon? This is a time of year kind of pre-fall, pre-winter where sometimes we get these little bugs, and so I know, isn't that a killer Larimar? Now, boy, I'm telling you. Killer. Here we have a cameo, and she is facing left, and she is sterling, and she is a pendant as well as a brooch. Come on, hocus focus. And that is Shell, and just facing the other way. I know Bruce and Doug has a way of getting into the deals are just too good, I'm telling you. I have a thing for cameos. Oh, not sick, but I had a bad scare earlier and some rough stuff with neighbors. Laura, after this live, if you want to call me, honey, do it, because if you need someone to talk to, I'm right here. If you need to call me, don't hesitate, because I know a little bit of what you're going through, and it's not right, but that's how people are sometimes. Then I think this is I hate, Laura, I know about neighbors, because I had one in particular that got on my nerves all the time. I told my husband, I'll be here long after they're gone. And I know how that is. I mean, that's your home. You live there. I know how you feel. So if you want to call me, you do so. That's okay, Laura. You can call me, and you see how I rant. And I think this is like a carnelian. Isn't that pretty? I know Laura is a very private person. And Laura, if you want to call me, do it, because I don't want, because when what happens, you're getting anxiety, and that is not good. So if you want to call me, just know that I'm here for you. I'm definitely here for you, sweetie. No one should have to go through something like that. Let's see. I don't think this is silver, but man, is it a neat. No one should have to go. I know how you feel. I've spent many an aggravating day. Isn't that neat? Look at that. Look at that abstract there. I don't think it's silver. And look at that stone. I just thought that this was really neat. I'm not for sure what he said the metal was on this, but I thought even the little how it connects right there is really amazing. Right there on where the little hook is. Isn't that neat? And see, that's how it would look, and there's your stone. That's amazing. And the way it hooks is and there's your hook right there. So it's one of those abstract beauties. And so you never have to reach to the back to fasten it, because it's on the side right there. Just a really pretty. You want me to put it on for you, Penelope? Why, I sure will. Goes right over the neck. And it looks like that. Like that. So it comes down at a pretty good length without you feeling like you're being choked. And I'll raise it up, and that's about how it's going to look. Move it over. Isn't that neat? But I just thought it was different. It reminded me of something like an abstract artwork where things are symmetrical and yet they're not. That makes sense, but it does lay rather nicely on the chest here. Beautiful, beautiful. It was just different. You want to have something different in your collection. Then you undo it on the side, no reaching around. If you have arthritis or something and you can't do that and it hurts you, then this is the necklace. I kind of liked it. Now I can't see what I'm doing. It's hooked on the necklace there. Come on. But that's one big Larimar. Okay, honey, let me put that in the chat for you, Suzanne, and welcome in. It's good to see you, sweetheart. I see you a lot. So you will register at I was never granted the fastest typist in the world, just saying. And there it is, right there, sweetheart, and welcome in. Now, I think you're new to my channel, Suzanne, and I'll tell you a little bit about what I sell. I love vintage glassware, little things like this. Vintage glassware, I do sell a lot of it. This was a recent pickup. This is purple, and it seems like I do see some bubbling right there. And this kind of stuff, and I really never know what I'm going to get until, you know, I try to stick to, well, good, Suzanne. I'm so happy. Thank you. Hey, Francis, girl. And I find that this colored glass is a hot commodity. They seem to like it. My prices aren't real expensive because I go on what I pay for them. And I've really sold some amazing things. If you like milk glass, I have 6 of these milk glass, and every one thing I sell is vintage. That is milk glass. Every now and then I have things like this beautiful vintage vase right here. And there's just, and a lot of my things are marked. I'm really particular about the things I bring. I try to keep in mind what people like and what has been successful in the past. And okay, Sharon, thank you so much for coming in. Love you too, sweetie. You take care. And just a menagerie of things. If it's not, here's something I recently found. This is what I excel in. I've never met a candy jar that I didn't love and you guys didn't love. And it's all older things, but I really enjoy that. I'm drawn to vintage items, and I do get quite a few of them. And I go to a one-stop shop. And of course, you never know what I'm going to have. It ranges from different things, and it's just something different. Of course, during all my venturing, it does take a little while to do this work. So my daughter likes to wrap Christmas presents, so I decided to change to like this kind of wrapping paper for the outside of my boxes. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Deborah. Appreciate that. Yeah, I love to get the old tea sets. I recently sold one that a tea set that was triple plated, and welcome in, Jen. That was triple plated that like Laura said, you just don't see that unless it's really, really old and things like that. Also, this is another thing that I love to bring is things like this. I've noticed a sudden uptick in interest in things like this. So I try to bring that, and you just never know. You leaving us, Beth? Bye, the turtle. Okay, Sharon's saying bye. But yes, I do. It's something that I love to do, and I have a one-stop shop. I get all this stuff in one place. Every now and then I'll venture out to maybe the Goodwill or the Salvation Army is where I found all those tea sets. So I usually check the bottom and see if they're silver plated and things like that. I have really sold some really humdinger tea sets in my day, but you just never know. But it is an adventure. It is an adventure, and I wish I could find Debbie. Where's that Debbie at? Here, I'll put it on my head. But for those of you who didn't see, this is Mama Chola's hat. She did request a beanie, and so the first one was way too big, and I wasn't happy, so I took it out. And thank you, Laura, for dropping that. So that is Mama Chola's beanie. I'm going to ask her if she wants a top knot put on that or what she wants, and leave it up to her. She may not want anything. But this is nice and warm. This was Karen Cakes yarn that I got on sale recently. And thank you. I'm working on, I do crochet now. I went from one medium to another. And now I'm doing the doilies with the string, and I'll show you something that I showed earlier that I am working on. And let me find it. I'm thirsty. I am a big fan of Pinterest. Let me see here. Where's it at? Right there. I do crochet with yarn as well. Hey, Marche. Good to see you, hon. Bruce, you're going to get something for Christmas. Yeah, I can make you one. If it can be done, I could probably do it. All right, Beth. Yay, Beth. I'm so happy for you. See, we all grow in different ways, and sometimes it just takes a little while. And I think that my first year, I was totally with the wrong person. And I tell you guys, I know what being around the wrong person can do to you. It kind of makes you kind of what's that word I'm looking for? It makes you halt what you're shooting for, and you're kind of stagnant, and it really bothers you. And every time you think of YouTube, you connect it with that nasty person. But you know what? Nothing like learning the hard way, right? But those days are over, and we must move on and let those who are nasty reap the rewards of their behavior. So this is what I'm working on currently. Wait, let me get it to focus. So I went from one medium right to another. And it's like, when you crochet with thick yarn, it's like, thank you. It's like two different worlds. It's like, this is a lot thicker. I need to cut the string, show you an example. Look how thick that is. And you move to thread. So I already have someone interested in a set of the pumpkins, and I'll show you the next project. And I can set for hours doing this. It's just a good thing that, when you feel Dennis is knitting, oh my goodness, that Dennis can do anything. So I had an interest in this pattern. This is a doily. It is pumpkins. And I will be doing that one next. My thread will be here by Thursday. Thank you, Francine. I really enjoy it. And thank you for the hearts. You won't believe the stuff that I have given away in the past. Because I feel like when you give something you're giving away, it's an extension of who you are. And when you give it away, it really thrills, when people receive things, it really thrills them. It really does. So, and I need to figure out how to get that camera and put it off to I think I know how I can do it, because I definitely want to. You like weeding? Come over my house. I'll feed you, give you plenty to drink, and I'll keep the chihuahuas off of you. No, just kidding. Hey, Francine. It's always nice to give. I got a beautiful winter hat from you, and I will be wearing it again this winter. Thank you for your kindness. You're welcome, Francine. You're welcome, and I enjoyed it. I mean, I really enjoy making things, and I believe, and my mother-in-law taught me, and I believe that if to you should utilize things if you know how to do something, and I've given a lot of things away. Thank you, Bruce. Why, I'm not half as talented as Dennis is. My mom loved weeding. I tell you, I've got this cactus, and I was weeding. I had gloves on, and my hand went into one of the paddles. Yes, I do like people mache. I really do. And when I took the glove off, I had one little one and another one, and I had to pull them out. So that said, but my mom had a green thumb. I do not at all. People excel. Yeah, it is therapeutic. People excel in different things. That's what makes us all individuals, that we have talents. My husband said, while he couldn't crochet, he'd probably throw it out off to the side. But I like challenges. France, my mom did too, Bruce. She made everything, including all my home ec projects. I got an A every time. Well, I remember I had a client. She was 90, and she would talk about that she put a zipper in something, and her home ec teacher accused her of her mother doing it, because her mother was a sewer, but she said she put that, she goes, my mom didn't do that. I did that. I'm like, you know, but yeah, it's, you just, you only fail if you don't try, right? You only fail if you don't try, and maybe it's not your thing. Dennis Bruce needs to start making those Christmas brooches. Now, Dennis, I couldn't do the work he does. Yeah, I have I got a cactus out there. I also have an aloe vera plant that, home ec for grown-ups. Also have an aloe vera plant that I have several of them rooted. If I could figure out a way to get those in packages, I think, yeah, I could probably wrap them in, because as long as they're damp, they're okay, and that gets real big real fast. Our plants have to come into code where we live for all year round. Yeah, some plants you got to take in. But that cactus, it's really, I have a long spot on the other side of the front porch, and I broke off, of course, with a pair of tongs, some paddles off of that cactus. It was going crazy, and I put them all along the side because, number one, it's always dry there, and I water them. But I thought, well, it's hard to keep the weeds out of it. It's hard to keep the different animals out of it. So I put the cactuses in there, and I tell you, nothing bothers it. Oh, Yes, they are, Deborah. They really are. You know, we never know what. Do you still have that Christmas crackle glass? I bet I do. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now with the poinsettia. It's right there, sweetheart. And Christmas is coming, and I still have it, sweetheart. Oh, moms are special. My mother was my best friend. Yeah, they really are. And it's tough. I still pick up the phone. I have the last message she left me. Oh, Francis. I remember when my husband's mother passed. He was with her when she passed, and I guess it was about a month later. We were in Walmart and we was coming out, and his phone. This is true, guys. And his phone rang, and so naturally looked to see who it was, and it said mom. But guys, that number was disconnected. It should not have been working, and it said mom. And this is true, guys. And he was so flabbergasted, he didn't know what to say. But it happened. You know, that was so weird. But yes, he was with her when she passed, and she had dementia. Like they say that most people, dementia is an advanced form of Alzheimer's disease. And it's really sad and it happens, as you can see, it happens more often where people get, um, dementia. And it's really sad to see the deterioration of that that loved one and it seems like overnight they turn into a person that their personality changes, and they're not the same person. Their whole, some of them get really upset easier than they did before, but that's part of the process when that happens. And you hear more and more people getting that. Oh, yeah, it really is, because you sit there and watch. Sorry about that, Francine. I know that's hard. It really is, to see the deterioration of that loved one, and you feel so helpless and so defenseless, and you you hope for the best, but you also expect the worst, because you know what that does to people's minds. But it seems like that is happening to more and more people in the world now. Hey, Blue Rose Lady, welcome in. But yes, and then especially if you're a caregiver and stuff like that. Oh, Deborah, I know I love looking at videos of her. However, what gets me through is having the best parents and a wonderful childhood. And that's wonderful. It really is. We do realize that, people get older and things happen, and that's why, we should strive to spend a lot of time with those people, because we never know. We never know when our last day is, you know what I mean? And to be able to make those memories, a lot of times, I had this young man, I had a client, and this lady was 83, and she was really going downhill, especially after she broke her shoulder. And I'm not a nurse, I don't have the education. And he took me off to the side. He said, "Well, what do you think?" And this was her grandson. I said, your grandmother's body is wore out. I mean, she had terrible pain all the time, arthritis, and what's that other thing that you get that's so darn painful? But she was in a lot of pain, and I looked at him and I said, "You know, your grandmother's body is wore out, you know, and oh, what is that called where you have pain all over your body? Oh, I can't think of it. I will in a minute." But she was the sweetest lady, and you know, I knew when she was very strong, and she hung on and she hung on, and you know, a hospice was in there and giving her, you know, the family didn't want her in pain, but I remember, oh, it was so hard. I would still come in to visit her, and to fibromyalgia, she had it really bad, and I still remember sitting by, you know, they had a hospital bed. Hey, Minnie, welcome in. And they had it in the living room. And I can remember I spent the night one night, and she was in the living room, and I was to the room off, which was open off to the side, and I would lay there listening to her breathe and thinking, oh my goodness, you know what goes through your mind. But I got very little sleep because I was always aware of what was going on with her and stuff like that. And oh gosh, I hate to see people, you know, go through something like that. But, you know, I just laid there, and I was in a semi sleep state, but I was still aware. But anyway, it is hard, you know, to let go. And I told the family, I said, you know, when I think their oldest daughter called me about, I'd say it was about 2 in the morning, and her daughter said, well, she's passed. And I said, well, you know, she's not in pain anymore, you know, and I know where she went, you know, and I told the family, I said, you know, it's really hard to lose that person, but if you focus on the fun times, the happy times, it does help you get through. And sometimes memories can be painful because you remember that person, and that grieving process is still there. My mother passed on October 31st at 62. I was 22. My hubby passed October the 13th. Last year we were married for 22 years. They were both the loves of my life. Sorry to hear that, Penelope. Oh my goodness, 62 was young. My goodness. And it's hard, you know, first of all, you know, we know that people don't live forever. And, you know, I tell you, some things that we go through in life are really hard to deal with, guys. And, but there's always someone, you know, that you're close to that you can talk to. It's those feelings that you don't get out is what eats you alive. You know, if you know, grief is a process. You know, it's not something that you go through for a year, 2 or 3 years. It's still there. 55. Oh, my goodness, Penelope. So Penelope knows what, you know, to lose someone that young, it's like you don't really understand it. And oh my goodness, Suzanne, what happened? Committed suicide. Oh my goodness. You know, to see, you know, we're in the chat with a lot of people, and to see people and see their interactions, we just don't know what they have been through in the past, and it's just really sad. Well, Suzanne, I lost my mother when I was 2 months old, and there was always a lot of what you would call suspicion. And, you know, we were kept away from our mother's side of the family, and uh, and there was a reason for it, guys. So during the time, my mother was really young, guys, and she had four children, and I was the baby, and the oldest was six. So we're talking 2 months old all through to 6 years old. Oh, and my mother left him because he had a woman pregnant at the same time that my mother was pregnant with me, and she got tired of it and she left him. So she went to her Aunt Grace's house. So they found my mother with a bullet hole to the head, and they always believed that my dad did it because my dad was like this. He was a terrible alcoholic. He was controlling big time, and they always suspected that he did that. And the worst part of it, I think my sister, which was six, saw this happen, and she was bipolar, and they didn't diagnose her until she was in her 20s. And so he wouldn't even take us to where our mother was buried. And I always had suspicion. I didn't know. And then I finally caught up with my mother's side of the family, and we were just kids. I mean, I was 2 months old, and 2 months, and six, and everything in between. Thank you, Deborah. And it's like it's like he totally wanted to. He did something and he wanted to hide it. Well, one day, of course, my sister passed 5 years ago from esophageal cancer, and she come to Indiana, and I said, and her name was Deborah, spelled exactly like Deborah's in the chat. And I was always, it's like, guys, I knew it. I knew it in my heart of hearts that, I don't know. So we were talking, and I looked at her and I said, Deborah, I said, our aunts believe that our dad killed our mother. She looked dead at me and said he did. And you know why? Because she witnessed it. That's why she had so many emotional problems. And, you know, and here's another thing. I remember after I caught up, it took me, I mean, he wouldn't take us to her grave. We was afraid to talk about her. So he was definitely guilty. And all I could say, I would get really upset, at family gatherings. I would like, if he did that, he will pay for that. He's probably paying for it right now. But the way I looked at it, something was taken from me. And I was a baby, guys. I was 2 months old. And he was just, my dad was controlling. He didn't care what he had to do to hide things from people as long as he didn't look bad. Yes, Merche, I think you're right about that. But and here's another tidbit. When I went, she's buried over in Louisville in Portland Cemetery. Thank you, Francis. I know, Francis. And keep in mind, this will be the first time I ever laid eyes on where my mother was buried, and I was 30 years old. So they had this little records place on site, and thank you, Beth. And I went in there because I wanted to know exactly where she was. Yes, they did, Suzanne. And he was looking, he goes, "Ma'am, are you sure her name was Lois?" I said, "Yeah." And thank you, Penelope. And I want you guys to know now, these places don't make mistakes. And my maiden name was Gaither. and she was buried under Ganther, and I know who did it. They do not misspell names in a situation like that. I guess my dad did what he did and he tried to hide it. He wanted to hide her. But you know what? He passed away, and I'm sure, hey, Leslie, thank you, Leslie. He had to answer for that. It's like, what it takes a very selfish person to do what he did, keep the kids away from their mother's side of the family totally. And the reason why he left the state of Kentucky, because my mother's brothers threatened to kill him because they knew he was guilty. And they said they didn't have the money back then to have it investigated, but it looked suspicious. And yeah, so it's like, guys, I always knew in my heart of hearts that he did that. And my sister, my oldest sister, witnessed it, and that's why she had all the problems she had. And it's sad the things that people will do to cover up. They don't want it. Would, Francis, all the evidence is gone, and it's you know it's really sad, but I think it's made me to come to the realization that your own dad could be like that. And I just thank God that I'm not like him. That's right, Leslie had to meet his maker, and when he did, there were no excuses. I mean, there were four children. And guys, he was, and I didn't know all about this until, and see, he would lay out all night, and the only way that my mother would let him in the house is if he slid his wallet under the door so she could buy milk for her children. Now, this is the caliber of person that he was. Yeah. I know, Penelope. I mean, the secrets run deep. I know, Roberta. And I have to think that I'm so much like my mother because I'm not at all like that. I tell you what happened. I'm very truthful, and I will tell the truth to people no matter if it hurts, but it'll hurt far more if they find out later that you knew the truth and you didn't care enough about them to tell them. And my grandmother had a baby between my dad and his sister and put her up for adoption. My goodness. Well, I tell you, people, years ago, people, I tell you, they would keep a secret to the death. It's all in the DNA. They would cover stuff up to make themselves look good. And it's so sad. And, you know, I mean, it's really bad. I mean, everyone loves their parents regardless of what they've done, but it's like a situation where you love them, but you detest them all at the same time. So I kind of learned that there's two things you can't change: what people say and what they do. So you just have to learn to find that happy medium in the middle there, because it is very disturbing to say the least. But I couldn't sit there and look at these kids knowing that he wanted to hide her. We were afraid to talk about her. Oh, thank you, Marche. Well, I tell you, when you've been through the mill and you know how to survive, it does give you an inclination of, and I also, my mother had a brother, but we are still in touch. Oh, that's good. But I don't know. I tell you, you never know the fire that someone walks through until you really know. But I feel that sometimes things in our lives, it can make you or break you. And it's hard out there, guys. And sometimes, I would rather be told the truth than to be lied to any day. Yeah, you found out in your late 20s. Yeah, it took me 30 years to find out where my mother was buried. And is there resentment? You're darn right there is. And when people do things to other people, sometimes it comes together like a puzzle. It's like you have a piece, but there's a missing piece. And then somewhere along the line, there's a piece that falls in and it just blows your mind. But to think that someone would be less caring about a human being to want to hide them and just act like they never existed. Like, well, if I don't think about it and you know, hide things and I don't have to, I tell you, I don't see how some people do things with a clear conscience, but I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I would not live with the fact that I knew something that would affect someone else's life and didn't tell them. And yes, it does put you in the hot seat. It really does. But sometimes, I think that sometimes, guys, we find out things when we're supposed to. Oh, you had a beautiful angel in your life, Penelope, that taught you well. I was adopted, a 60s love child, and found my birth parents. But I was so lucky to have my mom that raised me. She taught me proper things about my life in a short time. Well, adoption, I would rather see someone, if they're not going to take care of them, if they're going to abuse them, if they're not going to be good to them, I would rather see a mother give a child up for adoption because it gives them a chance. If they can't take care of them, if they have umpteen kids, and people make mistakes, but that doesn't mean that the adopted child is a mistake. But I look at people more favorably for putting that child up for adoption and letting it have the love that it truly deserves. These secrets eat someone alive can be bad or good. That's true. And it really does. It's true. I think because of what I lived through, I think that's why I'm so open and direct. I do have a salty personality, but I'm loving all at the same breath. Bruce is like, yeah, right. But I really am. I think what we go through either makes us or breaks us, and I know a lot of people that go through things that are so hard to, it just is. We all have human emotions and things, guys, there's nothing worse than putting something in the back of your mind and then it comes forward and you have to deal with it. Sometimes it's best to try to deal with it, talk to someone that you feel safe in telling things to and release the beast. Let me tell you guys, thank you, Penelope. I do have that, man. I can really ratchet jaw. But I'm telling you, the thing about me, I have pictures of my mother, and I'm telling you right now that I could not put those out because it was so painful, because it caused me to think about my mother being taken from me and the lies, the lies, the lies. And I just couldn't handle it. I found out that I had another sister when I was 20. Oh yeah, that reminds me. I was thrilled to meet her, really lovely lady. I had no issue with it. Just very sad for my mother who was 17. They threw her out. So I'm glad you said that, Francis, because the child that I guess my here's here's a boy. This is like General Hospital with a twist. But I was told that the person that my dad had in, expecting, if I could talk, was underage. And they told him he would sign his rights off or he'd go to jail. So, naturally, being the loving, truthful person he was, of course he did. So, I have a sister out there too, and I have a kind of memory of her. And this is what the memory was. I had this little red piano that I was particularly drawn to. And I can remember a kid coming around it and me grabbing her in the head of the hair. I do remember that. But I don't know, guys. I think sometimes we have a way of protecting ourselves through not wanting to know things. And, different things will trigger our memories and they'll come out at the most unusual times. And it's almost, thank you for the hearts, it's almost like deja vu. But it does. And, the more we try to suppress, the more the memories flood in and we just can't avoid it. Oh, I'm glad, Francis. Like I said, we just don't know. And I'm sure there were different reasons behind it. But the thing of it is, with a child, there's emotions involved. If it's a baby and that baby's adopted, and years down the I am too, Lenore. Years down the line, they find out. They tell them they're first off they owe it to that child to tell them they're adopted because everyone has a history. They're adopted, and like a baby or a person or a child that's a little bit older, see, the first thing that child's going to think, well, this is the thoughts how a child thinks. Well, why did my mommy want me? Is there something wrong with me? Did I do something? And they think that way. And it's, y'all know anyone that has ever been through this knows that it makes that person have a low self esteem. They have problems with relationships. Well, there's that truth thing. You know, I think that sometimes the parents that adopt the child and they love that child dearly, they put everything into it and they just don't want any part of the reuniting, some of them, not all of them, the parent with the real mother, because they think there's an alienation of affection in there, or so they think. But there comes a time when you should drop that wanting to hang on and let that child know exactly where they came from. My goodness. Yeah, it was a healing experience, but you see out there's so many kids that are not taken care of, they're abused, the parents look at them as a check, and you know what I'm talking about. And they have an old live-in laying around. It wasn't worth loading the gun to shoot their brains out. And we know that's true. There's young ladies that think that a baby is dollar signs. A baby is a human being, and they use it. They don't take care of them. The foster system right now is flooded looking for foster parents because you got some of these young ladies that don't give a hoot about nobody but theirself. They do make stuff for that. And then who pays the price? That kid does, and things like that. And it's I tell you. And, my dad was an alcoholic and he was abusive. Because I imagine every time he looked at one of us, he'd have to think of her. Oh, yes, Merche, I'm not a talker. I it stays right here. I know how that feels, and it will not. I think everyone here is very trustworthy. Yeah, it's so sad, but in a way, it's sometimes being able to talk about it promotes healing. And I don't care how old you get, how long you live, it's there, guys, and it'll always be there. It's how we learn to cope with it and to know that we can't live in the past. There is definitely no future in the past. You have to look ahead. And sometimes my sister is a doctor, a retired nun. It's a long story, but she's so special and kind. I'm so blessed to have her in my life. Yes, Francis, because a lot of times, you know, when we need to talk to people, there's people out there that are really, thank you for the hearts, that are really hurting, and we have no idea what what they're going through. And to be able to talk about it, even if it's here, releases something that has been bothering us. Me, I used to be really quiet. You're like, you were quiet. I used to be quiet, shy, and reserved. And I really never could look people in the face. And I'll tell you why. Because I was so afraid that they would see what I went through. And I just didn't want to go there. I believe we are among friends, even though we have never met. Yes, I believe so too. But yeah, guys, that hurt goes deep now. It really does. And to be able to, yeah, I do too, Penelope. Yeah, I think we are connected. But one step at a time, guys, it's, I mean, there is tragedy, but there is healing with that. We may totally not forget, but sometimes we have to learn to cope with it when those memories come out, and they come out of nowhere, guys. And the more we try to push them back, the more they come forward, you know. But, and, sometimes children are victim of circumstances, we just hope that, our parents are, man, have I been through it. But, it's for a person that some people will never share them. It's a choice. I understand. Yeah. Some people, it hurts, guys, to open up your heart to, I mean, it's not really so much the trust as it is that hurt. And people just really don't want to relive that, guys. They really don't. And my story would be days. Well, we all have a story. We're all kind of circum we're all victims of circumstance sometimes. And when it's sad, guys, when it's children and they're at the mercy of what their parents do. And like I said, the market is flooded looking for foster parents right now because there's so many things going on out there, guys, that there's children being brought into the world that excuse me, what did I have for dinner that I'm but yeah, it's really painful. I'll tell you guys, I know how that is. I know how people, mainly myself, try to block out memories Like I was telling you, I could not put a picture of my mother and display it in my house. Not because I didn't love her, it was because of the circumstances. Yeah, it does. It really does. And I couldn't do it, guys, because it triggered memories. And like I said, my mother's buried in the state of Kentucky in Portland Cemetery, and my dad is buried. He's buried, I would say, about 20 minutes from my house. And guys, I can count on, he died in 87, and I can count on one hand how many times I've been to his grave. And I can remember, going, I don't know, guys, maybe it was, I don't, it could be hate, it could be anything. It could be resentment. Oh yeah, resentment, but I don't know, guys. I just could not go up there. He's buried in a very small cemetery, and I just couldn't do it, guys. There was a mixture of emotions, resentment, possibly hate, and just pure hurt right there. And sometimes, guys, we'll do anything to avoid that. And we know that. We will put up those, because it causes you to think about it. Well, and Deborah, maybe you drawn out a good point there. Maybe that could have been part of something that I never thought about. And right, that is something that's food for thought right there. That's true. Like I said, there's no future in the past, but sometimes things run so deep. Hey, Tanya, I know with will live eternal, but I never want to see my father for sure. Oh, welcome in, Tanya. We're having a one of those heartstring pulling moments, but yeah, I think a lot of times people like to, you know, I think it's not a coincidence that people are drawn together. I really don't. And looking and seeing the things that happen to people in this chat and myself, and I thank God every day that I'm not that selfish person that hides things no matter what it does to other people. I don't care not to care what other people go through just to hide something. And yeah, it's a hangout. It turned into I don't know, sometimes things, one conversation leads to another, and we're just having these heartfelt moments. But I really think, I believe that I'm probably more like my mother because, if I was, I don't know, I do have a conscience, and I really, and like I said, when it comes to those hurtful things, we're experts at blocking that out. But guys, it always comes around, and we do not know. Yes, it is sometimes because it is the things that we don't bring out that's going to eat us alive, and it will, and you will be miserable. And it's best to go ahead and I'm telling you guys, sometimes, just like us speaking right now, sometimes we can speak with people that we don't really know that well rather than our own family members sometimes. Yeah, Deborah, I didn't know her. And see, that's another thing that I know life is very complicated. And we just have to, sometimes yes, I'm definitely a survivor. I can't, I'm just so glad that I am nothing like what I experienced, guys. And you guys don't have to be neither because, oftentimes when people are treated like that as kids and they get older, they reflect that because that's the only thing they know and they will do the same thing. But there comes a time when you know right from wrong and how to overcome it, and I'm the poster child for that. Thank you, Nana. I am the poster child for that because life's too short to spend it. Yeah, life is too short to spend it. We should all be happy, forgive people, even though it's hard as heck. Forgive people, love people, clear your conscience so that when you leave this earth, you have been an example to other people, and to know that you've made a difference in the life of someone else. That's what we're here for. Not to judge, not to say, speculate, well, you went through that and it was probably whatever. Never do that until you have walked a mile in another person's shoes and have felt exactly what they felt. You really shouldn't offer any, you can talk about it, but there's just so many vindictive people out there. And Merche says sharing put everything in a different dimension. It really does, because to me, I what I get from the different people and what they're saying is that they are survivors. Yeah, a thrive. They're survivors, and they did not choose to do the way that they were done. Yes, ma'am. This has been such a hard year for so many, myself included, but I've learned so much too and have walked closer with Jesus. Okay, Nana. I do have two channels and I would love let me go to, and I'm going to post it. I do have two channels and one does, let me go up here so I can do it. No, you don't have to. I do have two channels. And we're going to switch the account. We're going to go to that account. And we're right here. So let's see what pops up here. Okay, guys, this is my other channel, and this you will see my icon right here. So this is what it's, let me say something here. And it's on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard, and that is my second channel. Thank you, Laura, for dropping that. So let me go back in and switch back. But that is my second channel picture there. Let me go in and switch the account back. And whoop. I should be right this time. But yes, I do have a second channel. It's every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard. We do talk about Thank you, Bruce. We do talk about the Bible and different things. We pray for people, which we need a lot today. Thank you. And I would love to have you guys. Now, we do not have fanfare. This is straight hitting right out of that Bible. And I would love you. And I'm not a professional. I don't have a degree in anything, but I can read. This one, this one here. That's a Bruce and Dennis special. That's and this is Bruce and Dennis here. But thank you. But I do think that I think we can come together, and I'm not I don't have, excuse the expression, diarrhea of the mouth. I'm not like that at all. And Laura can tell you that I don't believe in. But yeah, I think there should be more channels of healing instead of, thank you, Penelope. And, you know, there really should be where people can come together and talk about and hear things out of the Bible that gives you hope, that really gives you hope, that it really does. And it's very enlightening. I'm not saying I'm a pro, but, I do hit those hard subjects. I know. And I had to wear this because it matched this. So, but we can all use a whole lot of that because we do live in troubled time, guys. Thank you, Manny. Thank you. That we do need to come together and hear something positive and get away from the phone ringing and all that negative stuff and just come in and be a part of something that, not it's not to say I won't bust your chops every now and then with the truth. Well, maybe that's the wrong phrase, but not to say that. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Yes, Deborah, I would love to have you. Yeah, this is one that's older, and this is another one. This is Sterling and CZ's, and this is maybe from the 60s. Yeah, and I know everybody's busy and we get busy with life, but it's just, guys, I knew, and I'll tell you why I decided to start this channel after I get something to drink here. I think one of the reasons why, don't you, isn't that pretty? It's gold toned. I think one of the reasons why, I think it's therapeutic for me as well. Given what I just discussed with you guys earlier, and I just felt like that I had something to give, and that's what God expected. And I thank you, Lenore, and I knew, and it's like it came out. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I knew what I was supposed to do. Not that I'm an expert. Not that I'm not an expert in any facet, but I knew that's what God wanted me to do. Thank you, Marche, because I think through my experience. Okay, Bruce, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Yes, Deborah, I felt like I was being called because of what I experienced. That through my survival of that I felt like that, I've had many times where, thank you, Leslie, that things have happened to me in my life that I knew God was there. There's 2 times where I could have been killed, but God had other plans. One was when I was probably about 13, and and the other one was when I was older. But I knew that And I'm not saying I'm all that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, have you ever had this strong, uh, you ever had this strong pull towards something and something's going like that, and saying use what you have been through to help people heal? That both reminds me of icicles. Yeah, isn't it something? To help people heal as part of my healing process. I'm not saying that, as long as we live and we have a mind, we're going to remember. You can't run away from memories when they're right up here. Where you going to run? You can't. You either deal with it, we take the lessons and move forward and help others who might walk through the same challenges we did. Yeah. And it does take a certain kind of person to do that. Someone that's not afraid to step out there and say, "Hey, I know what you're to bear this." And I'm so glad that you guys felt comfortable to be able to. This is very personal information, to know that, to be able to have the courage. And I'm sure some of you were fighting through a degree of pain when you were doing this. I can feel that. And to be able to, and sometimes healings like what I refer to as having a band aid on a bad spot, and then to pull that band aid off. And it hurts, guys. I know I compare different things. It really is. But sometimes you must do it, to be able to. And you just might find out that you have talents that you didn't know you had. And I just felt like that I was being led to do that channel. And I'm not kidding. I'm dead serious with y'all guys. That because of maybe something that I went through, I might be able to help somebody else. You know, yeah, this is from the 60s, and that's still in great condition, and that's my Larimar ring. But I do think that, one thing that I notice about people in general is everyone wants to be loved, respected. Thank you. Yeah, it's a dangly, sparkly one. I think it's about a 7 1/4, because it comes down and there. Isn't that neat? And that's what people really want. And thank you, Deborah. And I think sometimes people go through their lives and they're really afraid to talk to other people and be open, because sometimes, guys, we have to admit it, sometimes people use that against you. If they know something happened in your life and they get angry with you, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to bring up those bad memories. We know that. But that's why I think people are hesitant to share things. And we appreciate you too, Penelope. And thank you for feeling comfortable that you can come in and feel like, I don't even know how this started. Shoot, I don't know how it started, but I do know that it was supposed to have started, if that makes any sense. And see, that's how God works. You start out talking about one thing and it turns into, that's true. But people will do that. There, people are kind of nasty sometimes. I shared that a smoke detector was not working, and you wouldn't believe the emails I got. Well, sometimes it could be something different. It could be something more than just I'm a vault most times. Oh my goodness. Mm-mm-mm. There's much more things to worry about in life than a smoke detector beeping. It's just, oh my goodness. I seen someone post a confidential message to a good friend on Facebook. It was just the worst thing. I'm still speechless. Hey, Wendy, welcome in. I hope you are doing well to chat, even if I can't read it, sending out the hellos to you all. Thank you, Wendy, for coming in, sweetheart. That is so wrong. I've seen someone post a confidential. See, that's why people won't open up because of stuff like that. Where people take people's deepest hurts and their stuff and they trusted them and they turned around and cut their throat. That is so wrong. And they were good friends. Thank you, Laura, for dropping that. It makes you wonder why people do such things. Now, when someone, would send me an email or whatever, I don't air people's business because I just don't do it. It's between me and that person, and I'm not going to take it and put a spin on it. I'm not going to talk about it, period, unless I see a disturbing video that I feel like that stepped on somebody's toes, you know. But how sad. It kind of makes you wonder why people do the things they do. It's not only is it hurtful, it's really childish, and it says a lot about the person that did it. It may be their hidden, to know how that person really is at the end of the day. People that share things like that, they are never to be trusted by anyone ever if they betray one. Yes, they will, Lenore. That is so true. And there's that said, the wolves in the sheep's clothing, beware. You know, very well said, Lenore. That is so true. You know, but you can forgive them, but you don't have to have nothing to do with them because at the end of the day, they're going to have to answer for what they do to people. And when is your next? It'll be this coming Thursday. And many, you've got mucho boxes going out. Come Monday's a holiday, so it'll be Tuesday, sweetness, that yours goes out, honey. Okay? Yeah, isn't that something? Minnie's another sweet person. And I can feel the friendship from all the through this screen from you guys. The circles back around to where you started. We all need to use social media responsibly. You got that right. Give love, it will come back. Same with the negative. Isn't it though? Yeah, I hear you, Merche. And let's bring the disco ball out so that after. And guys, we do go through things, but sometimes we come out on the other end sparkling, right, girls and guys, whoever's watching. We come out on the other end and we Because we have been good to people, we sparkle and shine for everyone to see. Minnie's wanting my purse. And we all come out like this in the end. I know it, isn't that? That is something else. It does have a few stones, but I'm sure I could find some. But shoot, who could tell with everything going on in it? I could imagine that. That would be beautiful hanging from something, wouldn't it? But we all come out in the end, and we should let our light so shine, guys, right? Get it? Yes, it does. I would love to get a hold of a flapper dress. Yep, leave a little sparkle everywhere you go. Be kind, considerate of other people's feelings, and they will have a sparkling reception. There you go. Yeah, pretty gorgeous. Let's see what's underneath that. Oh, it's got like a little sparkly. Look at that. No wonder it sparkles so. I thought it was pretty amazing. And then this goes around your wrist and off. I don't know how you would, I guess you would hold it up, hold it down to your side like that and just sashay, as they call it, into the store. And everybody be looking at you, and you're just like, and then walk on. Very pretty. But it's all sparkly on the bottom. All righty, Miss Merche, thank you for being here. I think I'm going to let you guys go. I think that we had a wonderful conversation. Maybe some of the things were very hard to share, but I'm glad that yeah, a skull cap with a woo. I'm very glad that you felt comfortable. I need to get me a flapper dress or Charleston dress or whatever. I could see me now doing the, I've never done the Charles, but yeah, all the fringe and all the fanfare. And I'm glad you felt like you could come in and have a conversation with someone you really don't know that well that you've seen in the chat. So I'm going to let you guys go and remember to pray for one another and just love one another because we never know when our last day is on this earth, so that we treat people with love and respect like they should be treated. Love you guys, and we're going to go all the way around because you guys are from all states. Thank you for being here. Don't forget the thumbs up, and I'll see. I'm going to be on this coming Tuesday on that channel, so we'd love to have you drop in. You guys have a great night. Love you guys, and I'll catch you later. Good night, guys.